gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's December the 9th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, presented today by Caneswear, your shop for all your holiday Miami Hurricanes needs, and by LifeWallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And today is a day of celebration, Canes fans, because today there is an impromptu official visit weekend getting ready to start with two prospects that we believe by the end of the weekend could end up being Miami Hurricane commits. The first is Christopher Johnson, the running back out of Fort Lauderdale High School that Miami has been recruiting hard for several months. We thought he would already be committed, but he flirted with Ole Miss for a while. Clemson has tried to get in there, but Miami was able to get him on an official visit this weekend. That is absolutely huge, and we think by the end of the weekend, you might see Chris Johnson become a Miami Hurricanes commit. We got a story on his visit on the website, which pretty much says that it is no secret that there is one school in the lead, and you know which one that is. And then there's another official visitor this weekend that has come up in the last day or so, and that is, you're going to get a little confused because it's not Francis Maigoa, the five-star offensive tackle that's committed to the Hurricanes out of IMG Academy. It's his older brother, Francisco, who has been playing for Washington State the last 2 years, who is a really good-looking linebacker prospect, a great get in the transfer portal. Matt, your opinion on these two recruiting developments here in the last 24 hours?
Well, Christopher Johnson is sort of surprising when I talk to him, because every time I talked to him before this, it was always Miami has to win. Miami has to look better. I don't like Miami because of XYZ. Now, all of a sudden, yeah, you can tell everybody that Miami's been the number one choice, which on its face value, you have to be skeptical and think, what? What's going on? I think, I don't know the details of what happened with him in Clemson, but for whatever reason, Clemson dropped off, which really has helped Miami. I don't even know how much Ole Miss is even pushing for him. It's odd to me that he doesn't have more major schools pursuing him at this point. But, it's fine with me if he winds up a Hurricane. It's just always, I just never know what to believe anymore. Recruiting has become so stupid that somebody tells you straight to your face, Miami's my number one. His teammate, Antoine Jackson, tells me he's coming to Miami. Don't worry about it. And all you can think of is, I don't think he's coming. I'm concerned. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why my brain goes there, but it just seems like with modern day recruiting, every recruit wants to shock the world and surprise everybody. I miss the old days when Romeo Davis would be holed up in his house because Randy Shannon wouldn't let him leave, and nobody else even knew about him or who he was until signing day. And we were told, don't mention his name to anybody. And Romeo Davis obviously saved the program. Thank God that the coaches didn't let anyone else know about him. Then as far as Francisco Maigoa, I don't want a guy who obviously was so slow growing up that Francis got to the fridge first every single time and wound up a 330-pounder, while poor Francisco was so slow getting to the fridge that he wound up a 200 whatever pounder, 220.
Well, I pulled this clip of him. You could judge for yourself in terms of speed. This is a great interception that he made against Oregon of all teams earlier this season, and he looks fast enough in this clip. Matt took it to the house, and I don't think we saw a Miami Hurricane linebacker make a play that resembled that, even came close to resembling that play. And so, the fact that he's visiting this weekend, his brother's committed to Miami. I mean, it's not hard to read the tea leaves. I mean, it's it's very likely.
He's an improvement at a position that's terrible. Correct. Is he a national championship level linebacker? In my personal opinion, no. But you know what? He makes the team better. He's young. I think he's got 2 years of eligibility left. Like, it's not the end of the world. Is he the free agent that I always talk about? No.
Matt, you would make the team better at linebacker.
If he was, anybody can make the team better at linebacker.
Exactly. With your glasses on,
right?
Would make the team better.
So if he didn't have the last name Mauigoa, like, I'm not sure they would be taking him. I'm sorry, that's just what I believe. But he's got a great last name, and like, whatever, man. Like, that position is so bad. He could make some plays. I mean, it was at a much, he wasn't on a great team, or anything like that, where he was like this amazing. I think he was 4th on the team in tackles. Like, he's good. He's good. So I guess that's, that's fine. Look, it's fine with me. Like, I'm not gonna go running around screaming to the heavens like if the Alabama guy came here, which would be great. This guy's good. It's a good addition. That's how I'd phrase it. I'm sorry.
That Alabama guy, Julian Cohen, by the way, is who Matt's referring to, the offensive guard from Alabama.
Yeah.
I think Miami's doing pretty well there. I think they're making very good progress on that front. I will be surprised right now if he is not a Hurricane.
I think everyone's going to be a Hurricane.
Listen, I work on this stuff all day long. I mean, I'm calling sources all over the country. I'm telling you, I'm hearing good stuff about Julian Cohen. Here's another one, Matt. You mentioned the name Randy Shannon a minute ago. Miami's going to have to sweat out Randy Shannon getting Ruben Bain to come up to Tallahassee this weekend. Miami's been doing pretty well with Ruben Bain. He's another one that I think is going to be a Hurricane, much to the dismay of Matt Shodell.
I think he's going to. I've been saying for a while. I think Mark Fletcher will be a Hurricane. I think Ruben Bain will be a Hurricane. I think Damari Brown will be a Hurricane. I think Christopher Johnson will be a Hurricane. How
about Brandon Innes?
Brandon Innes.
That's the tricky one.
If he winds up taking an official visit, not this weekend, obviously, but next weekend, I'll say there's a 20% chance. If he doesn't do that and doesn't wind up on campus, then that to me, that ship sailed if he doesn't do that.
Yeah, well,
it's just not the offense he wants. I said this last time or a few days ago or whatever. I mean, I know you think it's
offenses could change.
I know you think this is a spread, high tempo, down the field passing attack, Gary. But it's apparently Brandon Innes disagrees with that for some reason.
I don't think it matters. I think you can adjust offenses. I think you could change plays. You can put new plays in. You can take out old plays. I think offenses are fluid beasts. It just depends on the offensive coordinator. And if Josh Gaddis is back, if he's
back,
it
depends on the offense coordinator. Like, of course it depends on the offense coordinator. That's like saying if you score more points than the other team, you're going to win. Of course, the offensive coordinator is who dictates what kind of offense you run. What kind of is that?
If he's back, the onus is on him to design.
Is this why people are paying to view our YouTube channel videos?
No, they're free. So
this is why they're free, because of these kinds of comments. But the offense will depend on the offensive coordinator.
No, my point is this. Okay, the offensive coordinator, in this case, if Josh Gaddis sticks, has the leeway to put whatever damn plays he wants in his playbook, Matt. So, like, if he has personnel geared towards running an up-tempo spread, the onus is on him to put an up-tempo spread on the field. He did not have that. He did not have that. He did not have that last year. Okay, he had an offensive team where the players could not even master the plays. He had to trim his playbook back enormously. You have quarterbacks on the field in game 12 throwing balls to nobody and I'm not picking on one or the other because they both did it at different times down the stretch this year. I mean, throwing the ball to absolutely nobody. I mean, to air. Okay, that means they did not know what the heck they were doing. And you had receivers running wrong routes. You had busts on the offensive line, quarterbacks getting strip sacked every 5 seconds. The offense this year was an abomination, largely because people did not know what the heck they were supposed to be doing. And on top of that, there weren't any elite players on the offense this year. So if the talent level changes, the onus is on the OC to adjust the offense to fit the talent. That's number one. Then the onus goes on the players to learn the damn offense, to put the time in and know your plays, okay? Stop busting. I mean, this is a group effort. They have to pick it up in 2023. That is an understatement. So, Matt, Ruben Bain. All right, so Randy's got him coming up to Tallahassee this weekend. And the Canes have been doing well there. No surprise. They're going to have to survive this weekend. You don't know what FSU is going to throw at them. You don't know what the FSU collective is going to throw at them. There's a lot that's going to go down this weekend in Tallahassee with Ruben Bain. The mindset that he returns to South Florida with on Sunday is going to be a big deal. I feel good about it, but I don't lack respect for what is going to take place this weekend in Tallahassee, Matt.
Well, of course, as usual, you don't let me speak until now, but I'm going to be Gary Ferman's football to English translator just because you're going to get yourself in trouble. It sounded to everybody like Gary Ferman was blaming the players and saying Josh Gaddis would have been fine if the players were just better. But what Gary Ferman actually meant was that Josh Gaddis was equally at fault as the players because Josh Gaddis did not adjust anything for the failures that he knew his players or should have known that his players had. Okay, that's Gary. That's if you Google football to English dictionary and put in Gary's
words.
I'm
not defending Josh Gaddis. He had a rough year, but he adjusted for the North Carolina game, Matt, and they threw for 500 yards in that game. Okay, you can't just kill the guy for the bad and ignore the good. Now, he made an adjustment at that point in the season. The next week, they did very well too. And they had things going in the right direction when Tyler Van Dyke got hurt against Duke. So, look, I mean, it is a group effort, okay? And the onus is on everybody to get it better. And we'll see if Gaddis ends up back at Miami. So far, there have been no changes on the staff. And but the point I was just making, not to be repetitive, is that whatever your personnel is, like that's the responsibility of the offensive coordinator to design an offense around his personnel.
Yeah, and I'm trying to, it's interesting. I'm trying to look up the North Carolina Miami Pro Football Focus because I don't think he changed the offense. I hate to tell you. I know he did put in, specific things for certain teams that the guys never learned correctly.
Tweak some things again.
But I'm trying to find. I don't think that the downfield passing game, the 20-plus yard passes. What week was it? Because I'm trying to look it up right now. I'm just curious.
5, 6.
I'll do it live right now, so you can go on with your meandering.
No, man, we just want to watch you work live. This is kind of like a joy. We get to watch Matt. We get to watch Matt work.
Let's see, where the heck is it?
How do you like that?
Here we go. Found it.
You got this whole fan club. You got this whole fan club growing on YouTube.
Yeah, I have no fan club, but here's what happened.
They get to watch you work.
Do you know how many Tyler Van Dyke threw? Let's see, 44 passes in that game. 44, I believe it was.
Hey, honey, we're watching Matt work. Can I have some popcorn?
Okay, here's what he threw. Oh, he threw a ton of passes. I don't know.
I need some popcorn because we're watching Matt work.
Hilarious. According to this is Pro Football Focus, okay? I don't remember him throwing this many passes, but this is what they say he did. He threw, and this is the brand new offense for North Carolina that was put in, okay? He threw 34.
I did not say that. I didn't say a brand new offense was put in. I said he made some adjustments.
He made no adjustments, okay? 49 passes were below 20 yards. 6 were 20 or more yards. It was still a short offense. 38 passes were within 9 yards of the line of scrimmage. Okay, it was still a quick, short passing game.
They pick another game.
It just so happened they had a quarterback who can run it. He didn't change his offense. It was just a more efficient offense that was able to do a lot better against a defense that wasn't real good.
Pick an earlier game.
They played other defenses that weren't good and couldn't do anything. But he did not change a thing in that game. So don't give Josh Gaddis all this credit.
Wait a minute. Pick an earlier game. What would pick Middle Tennessee or Southern Miss.
But
pick Southern Miss. They gave him a hard time. Pick Southern Miss.
But what's the difference? The whole point
is see if you see a difference.
Different in what?
Well, what did they do differently that suddenly they went from a team that couldn't throw the ball to a team that threw it for almost 500 yards?
Because when a team doesn't prevent the short passing game, they're going to do well. That's the difference.
Well,
right? Here's week 4. Okay, Tyler threw 3 deep passes. Okay,
who's
week
the opponent?
3.
Who was the opponent?
I don't know. Week 3, he threw 3 deep passes. Week 2. he threw 4 deep passes. It's the same thing every freaking week. They don't throw the ball down the field. Deep, I'm talking 20 or more yards. Week 1, he threw 20 or more yard pass. Like,
so you're saying there was no difference in North Carolina. Josh Gaddis gets no credit. He made no adjustments.
In terms, I can't look at the
500 yards by accident.
I'm not going through the actual game plan. I'm just saying in terms of the distance of the throws that Josh Gaddis dialed up, it's not like he was going over the top and beating guys deep down the field in North Carolina game where he threw for a ton of yards versus any other game. It just happened to work, the short passing game, in that game, whereas it didn't in some others. And you could phrase it however you want. I'm not going to in depth. I know for a fact that Josh Gaddis put in ginormous amounts of plays for every single opponent that nobody understood. But in general, when it came to his play calling and where the quarterback apparently was supposed to go with the ball, 95% of the time in every single game, they were supposed to keep it within 15 yards of the line of scrimmage. Like, that's just what he called, or that's just what they did, or that's what they were told to do, whatever the case is, however you want to phrase it. That's what happened. And there was no magic formula where all of a sudden he's like, we got all these speed guys, which they did, and let's use the speed down the field when we get a one-on-one with a cornerback and take shots. He didn't do it. And it's not like against North Carolina when he threw for 400 yards or whatever, like all of a sudden he did that. He didn't. It just happened to work better. I mean, it is what it is. I don't think he reinvented the wheel for that one game. I think you take it as a big picture that Josh Gaddis was a failure this season. I think you take a big picture the offense was a failure this season. And I think you take a big picture that it doesn't mean the offense will be a failure next season, even if Josh Gaddis is back. Hopefully he's learned from his mistakes. Hopefully the offensive line is better, because guess what? If you have a great offensive line, you can mask a lot of bad offense coordinator calls. All you got to do is run the ball for 5 yards.
They're trying, man.
3 yards, and you're 3rd and 2, and a bad coordinator can convert a lot of 3rd and 2s. What a bad coordinator can't do is convert a lot of 3rd and 6 pluses, which is what they were facing all year.
Would you say, what if you line up with Samson Oklanola and Josh Julian Cohen on the left side of your line, as opposed to what we were doing this year? How different would that be? If assuming Sampson coming in as a true freshman, and he looks like Orlando Pace, like this guy is like, he looks NFL ready, quite honestly. We'll see if he really is, but let's assume
Did you watch some of those highlights of who he's playing? The problem with him,
right. Well, that's anybody that's playing.
He's playing 180-yard defensive lineman, and it's you can just be massive and just throw guys out of the way.
Yeah. But Orlando Pace got way better than he was obviously as a true freshman. But guys with that type of ability usually end up playing as true freshmen.
Well, yeah, but the point is, I'm not sure he will dominate as a true freshman. Yeah, maybe he will, but there's a big transition going from what he's doing now against pretty poor competition, quite honestly, when you watch the highlights, to what he will have to face against guys who are 3 to 5 years older than him. So I don't know. Look, he's going to be great. You're saying he's going to be great in year one.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know that. He's a true freshman. It's hard
you said line up those two guys. How amazing is that
I'm assuming that if they get this 5-star stud, who's maybe the best offensive lineman in America, that they're going to probably choose to put him on the field over John Campbell. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Or Zion Nelson that hasn't played football in 2 years.
No, if they have 5 new offensive line starters next year, I don't care who they are. Like, I'll say this has to be better than what they had, because the reason when we knew there was a problem on the offensive line, it was in fall camp when all of a sudden you see these 2 transfers they brought in couldn't even beat out the guys who we already knew weren't good enough. Zion Nelson's not there. We know we knew John Campbell was average to maybe a little above average. We knew he wasn't great. There was, the center was supposed to be redshirting is what we kept hearing, but then he had to start because there's nobody else any good. Jalen Rivers, we knew was going to be good enough, but his grades the prior year were not that good, and they kept saying he was their best offensive lineman. He's grading out at 60% all year. So we knew the offensive line was going to be a problem, and it's the same guys again next year. So that's why if you come in and all of a sudden 4 of the same guys are starting, and the fans are always like, oh, they're going to be so much better now. It never happens that way. For 20 years, it hasn't happened that way. I'm not going to start saying, okay, we got 4 returning starters in the line. It's going to be so much better. Like, I'm done with that. I'm done with Navon Donaldson's back from injury, so it's going to be amazing. He was the missing gap. Like, I'm done with that, man. I want all new starters across the entire offensive line.
And you might get your wish.
Not one of those 5, except for maybe like when I say starting 5, I'm not talking about the freshmen who played, okay? Because Inez Cooper is going to be good. Matthew McCoy is going to be good. I got no problem with those 2 guys starting. But I'm talking about the guys who have already gotten the chances. And yeah, I don't mind Jalen Rivers starting, but John Campbell, Ja'Kai Clark, like I don't need those guys to start. Obviously DJ's gone, but I wouldn't need him to start either. Those three positions, I want new guys. Period. Like, and let's start over and let's have some hope.
Yeah. Well,
speaking of hope, by the way, I went stone crabbing yesterday, and I know now how Mario Cristobal feels when he has a recruit stolen away at the last second, because for the first time in the history of stone crabbing in Biscayne Bay waters, we lost half of our pots. We think to a shrimp boat that dragged them. These shrimp boats, they have these giant metal bars that they drag across the grass to get the shrimp to come up, and these nets. And our pots were gone, man. Gone, half our pots. So
really, how many crabs did you end up with?
So listen, as long as Mario does better, holding on to a higher percentage of his recruits than the pots we lost, he'll be fine.
So how many crabs did you end up getting?
10.
10 crabs.
Yeah.
Ooh. So what did you do with your buddy? You split them 5 and 5?
No, I didn't take any. What do I need them for?
You let him have all 10.
Yeah, of course.
So you went out on the boat for 5 hours to get stone crabs, and you didn't get one crab to take home.
It takes a lot longer when you're not finding your pots, because you're re-dragging and repositioning and dragging a different area. It was.
And you didn't get one crab out of this.
He wanted me to take them all, but I said, "Don't be ridiculous." What do I need the crabs for? I could barely. I don't even have time to eat or cook them. I told him. I said, "Gary's working me to the bone. There's nothing I can do anyway to eat them. I mean, I'm locked in my office constantly."
All right. Well, listen, I feel fairly confident you're going to get your wish with a relatively new offensive line. I mean, you might, I don't know. I think Zion will be out there next year. I don't know whether he'll be a guard or a tackle, but I think you'll see him out there. We have to see if Okunlola is ready to play one of the tackle positions. We don't know if Francis Mayagoa is going to be ready to play as a true freshman or not, but he's the other 5-star offensive lineman they're getting. If they get this Javion Cohen, like I think they will, he will be in the starting lineup at left guard
for sure. He'd be the best lineman. I mean, this is when I say free agents. This is what I mean. You take starters from Michigan, from Ohio State, from Alabama. You take their starters, man. That's why we are hiring John Ruiz to work for the Miami Hurricanes. That's his only job, is to get free agents here. Do your job, John Ruiz.
I don't think you have to worry about John Ruiz doing his job. His budget is just fine. Miami is in a very good place in that regard, and I think there's going to be some slugfests, because they're fishing in pretty deep waters with guys like Javion Cohen in the transfer portal. But I feel pretty. I feel pretty good making my bet on John Ruiz, and when it comes to NIL, I don't think there's going to be any issues there. But I do think, as much as everybody has lined up against Josh Gaddis, and I'm certainly not defending him, that you can't not give him credit for whatever he did. Okay, you want to say he didn't make adjustments? Okay, fine, I get it. Like, we want to just pile as many shovels of sand on Josh Gaddis as we can right now, and he's certainly a very easy target. The offense was horrendous. Okay. But he did do something right in the middle there when he got Tyler Van Dyke going. And it wasn't until Tyler got hurt, because the offensive line couldn't pick up anybody if their life depended on it, and he started getting pounded into submission. It was inevitable he was going to get hurt. And then he remained hurt. It wasn't until then that the offense really became a hopeless cause. And it was a hopeless cause.
This is such revisionist history. I mean, thank God you're not writing the books about the Civil War, because the first 3 games, Tyler Van Dyke was fine, and the offense was still terrible. Like, you just look at the 2 games where the offense was actually somewhat functional.
He was not fine.
Look at those 2 games that were somewhat functional. It's amazing.
Southern Miss had them totally baffled with the coverages that they were throwing.
The offense wasn't good against Texas A&M either.
They did not know how to execute Josh Gaddis's offense against the coverages that Southern Miss was throwing at them. Great job by Southern Miss. Applaud Southern Miss. They did a great job.
What about Texas A&M's not a good team.
Texas A&M, they didn't throw the ball so great either.
They scored 9 points.
Correct. They didn't. They were not executing.
You're pointing to a North Carolina game where they scored 24 points. Okay, because Middle Tennessee State, obviously, give me a break. I understand they lost, but you should score a ton of points.
I am saying early in the season they were not executing the passing game very well. They just weren't. Even Texas A&M, that offense was driven by the running game. They were not. Tyler was very uncomfortable up there. He wasn't throwing the ball well. The receivers are dropping passes. The passing game was not in sync at Texas A&M, or they would have won the game.
Southern Miss and Texas A&M, the offensive line was healthy. Tyler Van Dyke was healthy, but you don't want to talk about that. You just want to talk about the 2 games where he threw the ball.
Game was not.
Don't just pick out the 2 games. The offense, as a big picture offense, was awful. Even when the offensive line was healthy, even when Tyler Van Dyke was healthy, it was a disaster, man. And let's not sugarcoat it. If they don't recognize that and they just look at the 2 games you're looking at and say, it's fine because when it's all clicking, look how good it is. Look, we only lost by 3 points to North Carolina and we threw for 400 yards. Look how good
I'm talking about the passing game was better.
I don't even know why you're bringing that up.
While we're watching you work, what did the passing game grade out against North Carolina? The passing offense.
Yeah, 0.2. I'm not looking it up. I don't care. I've lost interest in last season. I don't ever want to talk about last season again. And I'm not looking up any more numbers. All I want to do right now is just sort of just be depressed about my Stone Crab loss. That's it. I don't even want to talk about football anymore. Right. I'm done.
Well,
thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great day.
I'm trying to get everybody excited, and you're telling me I'm too positive. You can't win on this show. How do I always end up arguing with you? It's unbelievable. All right. Anyway, get excited because I think things are going pretty well in recruiting. They got to survive this weekend in Tallahassee with Ruben Bain. That's a really big deal. We'll see how that goes. But going into this weekend, I feel fairly good about Ruben Bain becoming a Miami Hurricane. I feel good about Francisco Maigoa, who's visiting this weekend, becoming a Miami Hurricane. I feel real good about Christopher Johnson, who's visiting this weekend, becoming a Miami Hurricane. I don't have any pom-poms here, so I can't shake them. Yes, I am being positive about what we are seeing with Miami recruiting. So, hopefully it continues down that path. All right, let's take a moment to hear from our friends. First, CaneSport.
Welcome to CaneSport. Family owned and operated since 2010. CaneSport has all the latest merchandise for the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Inter Miami Soccer, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of I-595, or online at caneswear.com. CaneSport, the spot Miami fans shop.
And in honor of John Ruiz and the work he's going to be doing the next few days in NIL, let's hear from our friends at Life Wallet.
How you feel? All right?
Hey, you sure you good?
Hey man, how you feeling?
I feel really dizzy.
Do you have Life Wallet?
I do have Life Wallet.
Program activated.
Hey, George, you all right?
Actually, I'm great because I have my Life Wallet.
There's a problem with that commercial. What is it?
Oh, I wasn't watching. I don't know. What was the problem?
Daryl Jackson's not on the team anymore.
Oh.
The star of the commercial is not on the team anymore.
Well, why did you play that commercial then?
I wasn't even thinking about it. It was just in the rotation. The way the things are going right now, Matt, with all these guys going in the transfer portal, thank God that we're getting to January where the players have time to do more commercials because they are already starting to film a whole new lineup of commercials for this year. So we have that to look forward to, of course.
Great.
But We saw the basketball team there. They play NC State at home Saturday afternoon. So you guys local that want to go see ACC basketball, you can go see it on Saturday afternoon. But what the heck was the deal with that game on Wednesday night against Cornell? I mean, 107, 105. They had to score a last-minute basket to win the game against Cornell. Now, Cornell, man, they were damn good now. They were really good. But what I don't understand, Matt, is how all of a sudden, like, they played a game where they decided they weren't going to play any defense. Like, they gave up 105 points against Cornell. I know they scored 107, but they got suckered into a scoring contest. I'm amazed Jim Larinaga allowed that. They got to have the athletes to defend Cornell. Come on, man. What the hell?
Well, more importantly, talking about Ivy League basketball, my nephew is 6'11", not my genes, but 6'11", and he plays for the Mighty Tufts Jumbos. And they played Harvard a few days ago, and it was on ESPN Plus. And you can tell how big a sports fan I am and how big a family man I am, because when I turned on ESPN Plus and I saw it was a $9.99 subscription, I said, I don't need to watch. but Tufts did come back, and I did go to Tufts, by the way. I was a not so mighty jumbo, and Tufts did come back. They were down by 11. They cut it down to, I think, 3, and then being Tufts, they lost. But the Ivy League obviously is amazing because they beat Tufts and they almost beat Miami. It's like, if Miami plays Tufts, then we'll really know where these programs stand. And I highly suggest that happens, actually. I'd love to see that.
These guys could shoot the ball, man. I mean,
that's what they recruit. They can't match up with the big physical, faster guys, more athletic guys rather, inside. So they have to shoot threes. I mean, that's what
they gave up 107 points to Miami.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why major programs play Ivy League teams, because it's a nightmare, because it doesn't help you prepare for your conference play whatsoever. If anything, it just makes you miserable the whole game, because all you're doing is watching guys hit threes and shoot threes the entire game in this up and down craziness. I mean, it's not as entertaining as for fans. It's annoying, probably, for a lot of basketball purists.
I'm just amazed that they were allowed to play no defense in a game.
Right. It's not like they play no defense. It's that they didn't have the personnel to defend the 3-point line with the people they have. Like, you can't defend 4 guys at the 3-point line with the personnel Miami plays. That's just not how they're built. There's going to be an open guy. If you've got 4 guys who can all just shoot threes, and they're small, fast guys, there's going to be an open guy to shoot a 3 almost every time. And on the opposite end, you just throw the ball to a bigger guy or get an offensive rebound, and you score every time. So that's why it's 107 to 105. I mean, it's amazing it wasn't 150 to 148 in overtime.
All right. Couple other cool stories on the website today.
By the way, if Josh Gaddis was coaching Miami, they would have lost 105 to 14. That's true. That's true. I ran the simulation on my Madden.
There you go. We have updates on a couple more commits today as well. Jackson Carver and Frankie Tinalau. What do they bring to the table? We talked to their coaches to kind of get a review on their seasons this year as they prepare to become Miami Hurricanes. We also take a closer look at 6 key transfer portal targets that Miami is actively pursuing right now. There's more than 6, but we picked out 6 and give you a look at 6 key targets that they are pursuing right now. And last but not least, another cool story on the website today. We catch up with Kelly Gillis. He is the high school coach of quarterback commit Emory Williams. And we get his take on why the Miami Hurricanes may have a diamond in the rough here with Emory Williams, how he's a bit underrated, and how much upside that Kelly Gillis thinks he has. So make sure that you check out that story today as well. So that's
including why Emory was underrated by services, by the way. So yeah,
I just said
definitely worth looking at.
That's what I just said. Why he was underrated.
Yeah, I don't listen to you. everyone out there just probably just fast forwards past when your mouth is moving to when I'm talking anyway. That's what I do. I mean, I can't speak for everyone else. I see your mouth moving, I just go, and I see my mouth moving, and I hit play. And, that's what I suggest everyone do.
Well, before we go, I'm going to come clean on one thing. I'm the one that moved your stone crab traps. I'm the one that went out there and did
it. You know what? I usually don't listen to anything you say. That I actually believe.
I said, man, I'm going to get Matt back. I'm going to make him go out there and spend 5 hours on the high seas and get no stone crabs.
Yeah, that was disheartening.
All right, that is going to do it for Good Morning CaneSport today. We thank you so much for starting out your day with us. Hope you guys have a great weekend. We will be all over this thing for you guys. Those recruiting visits this weekend, will they lead to commitments on Sunday? We've got the Canes basketball game Saturday. We'll have the Zuby Charles there. We will be all over this stuff all weekend while you guys, I don't know, I imagine, recline in your recliners and go to the beach and get some rays and
who do you think our subscribers are?
Down a few Heinekens, maybe. We'll be all over this Canes beat for you guys.
This is how you think. This is how you think the Miami fans. This is how you think Miami fans spend their weekends, I guess, huh? That's it.
No, I mean, I think we have a lot of fans, and I think we have a cross section of vocational interests out there. I think they spend their weekend in a lot of different ways.
I don't know. When I picture a Miami fan, I picture somebody huddled in a corner crying and just waiting for Miami to be back. Just waiting for the signal, the bat signal. That's what I picture, but maybe I'm wrong. That's most of the Miami fans I know. That's what they do because they don't want to go out and about and see people who are Michigan fans, which I don't know why there's so many Michigan fans that live near me. I don't want to see them, And as a matter of fact, my stone crab buddy, his son goes to Michigan, so that added insult to injury when all of our traps disappeared and he started talking about Michigan this, Michigan that. I'm like, yeah, I don't really care.
I guess we got Clemson fans coming down in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's annoying, man. I highly recommend. If you're a Miami fan, just don't leave your house for like 3.5 weeks, and then you'll be okay. I would just huddle in the corner, watch replays of like the 2001 national championship game, and that's it. It's just not worth going out right now.
All right, so you guys have a great weekend. If you like this show, like our YouTube channel, hit your subscribe button, hit your like button. Helps us with the algorithms at YouTube, grow our channel. If you're not yet a subscriber to CaneSport.com, please take advantage of our $10 introductory special. It'll take you to the start of next season. Your subscriptions allow us to do everything that we do, including Matt, which I recognize there's good and bad that goes with that. But we got to live with the bad to get the good, Matt Shodell. So
no, I don't listen. If I cared, I would probably just focus on the bad. The good, I don't even know what good you're talking about. I try to be as bad as possible, so you stop bothering me every morning at 5 a.m. I don't know what the good is. Maybe I honestly don't know what's good.
We have to include you in this show. You have too big of a following.
I have no following. You keep saying I have a following. All people say is Matt Shodell knows nothing about football. If that's a following, it's a negative following. I have a great negative following, if that's what you want me to do.
You got to give me credit for creating this show, which I did, which has allowed for the formation of your fan club, which has grown to proportions far beyond anything you ever could have dreamed of. And I think you would admit that.
Look, I mean, the problem I have is I only realized 2 weeks ago that I was always talking about Australian rules football. I didn't realize we were actually talking about American football rules. And that's been, for those of you that think I don't know football, that's been the disconnect. I'm still studying American football. I will get it right at some point. Footy is the way to go for a lot of people. So that's what
all right, you go study. We'll see you next, I guess on Monday, everybody. Hopefully with some good news.